Let's continue our conversation about Ebola. Skyping in from Washington, Dr. Sanjay Jain. And here on the anchor desk, we have our friend Nick Tate, our deputy editor of Newsmax Health. Sanjay, with the exception of one person, all the people who have been cared for in the U.S. for Ebola thus far have been cured. Why the success rate here in the U.S.?
Well, I'm really optimistic about how things have developed here in this country. And to your question, number one is they're really doing a lot of focused care, a lot of attention to fluid rehydration, a lot of attention to just the overall care, and they're also providing these experimental medications, which probably the West Africans are not getting. So in terms of the two modalities, in terms of getting the experimental drugs and getting the attention, it's very helpful.
That is helpful. And Nick Tate, as we look at it right now with only one case of Ebola that we know about, the temptation is to say, hey, we got this thing under control.
I don't think so. We haven't turned the corner yet. I think we're going to see more cases in the country. As the number grows in West Africa, the greater the likelihood we'll see more cases here. We've got to get those experimental treatments to West Africa. We need to bring some of the know-how that we have here there and control the outbreak there.
Public health question, Dr. Jain. It appears that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is all set to go with a 21-day quarantine of our military personnel treating those hot spots in Africa. That's going to be his suggestion to Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel. The president refuses to weigh in on it. Should everybody have a mandatory quarantine after dealing with Ebola?
You know, I'm glad you asked that question. When I thought about this, what's the difference between house arrest and quarantine? You're basically confined and you got some sort of personnel, military personnel or policemen outside the door making sure you're not going out. I don't see a difference. Basically, you're telling people or helping people to go under house arrest for 21 days.
And whether it's house arrest or quarantine, Nick, should there be consistency from our government on this issue?
That's the problem. We've got now the governors in New York and New Jersey with different policies than the feds prescribe. 8 other states are looking at their own policies. It creates a patchwork, and I think that creates gaps.
We'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. Dr. Jain in New York, Nick Tate here. We thank you. Now, a midterm report on the upcoming battle for the Senate in Kentucky.
Democrat Allison Lundergan Grimes has proven to be a formidable foe against Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. The two broke out of the gate on the campaign trail neck and neck. Occasionally, one or the other would nose ahead in the polls, but never enough to break away out of that margin of error. Now that the race has entered the home stretch, there's finally an opening for the McConnell campaign. It would appear, according to some political analysts, that national Democrats have all but abandoned Grimes by pulling the plug on their funded advertising. A big blow to her campaign. Grimes may be down, but she's definitely not out. She'll still get help from the National Party with her ground campaign. There's plenty of money in her war chest to keep up her own airwave assault. Grimes' September filings with the Federal Election Commission show her campaign raised almost $5 million last quarter. Even with her record-breaking numbers, Fox News reports McConnell's campaign has been able to outspend Grimes by tens of millions of dollars thanks to help from the super PACs.
Hillary Clinton and Elizabeth Warren in Kentucky stumping for Ms. Grimes this week. Bobby Jindal in the Bluegrass State today for Mitch McConnell. For more on this, go to Newsmax.com. Be sure to join us here on Newsmax TV Election Night. We will have special live coverage of the midterms. You Decide 2014. Make a decision to stay with us as America's Forum continues after this time out.